behind that these restrictions are to follow the law.
The Children's Online Privacy Protection Act is a US law, so why am I, an English person, talking about it? Well, it affects everybody.
If you create content for YouTube, this video is very important to watch as it describes changes to the upload process, all of your existing videos, and potentially your monetization.
So, starting on January 1st, this will be going into full effect. So currently this isn't actually completely happening, though aspects of it have already started. Some channels have already been affected by it. I'm just going to talk as if it's happening right now, just so it's future-proofed. But yeah, essentially what has happened is YouTube was seen to be in violation of COPPA, which is a US law basically saying that you can't take information online from children under the age of 13. Now, they got sued for that, and so they decided it's best if they don't ever have this happen again by essentially getting rid of all of the children's creators in terms of actually collecting data.
Back in September, we shared the steps we're taking to address a recent settlement with the U.S. Federal Trade Commission that will help creators comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, known as COPPA, and other applicable laws.
So what this essentially means is that any kid which is a child younger than 13, at least in the US, it can change depending on your country, most places it's 13. If you make content that is directed at them, you are making children's content or children directed content, whether you are meaning to or not. If you're making a toy review, if you're making certain game videos, if you're making various different things, you are susceptible to this. So I, for one, I used to create a bit of Minecraft content, a bit of Roblox content. That would go against that would violate the rules. That would go against what COPPA is actually wanting. So I would have to say that that is children's content, despite the fact that I'm not a children's creator by any means. Similarly, I've made plenty of reviews, toy reviews, film reviews, on stuff that you would definitely look at and say, yeah, this is more for a child audience. I've done videos on Connects, videos on Star Wars figures, various cartoons and stuff I've reviewed. All of that stuff would be in violation unless I marked it as being for kids, despite the fact, I mean, in the film reviews I do tend to not swear. I do swear reasonably, just because it's how I talk naturally. I do swear. It's like, the only reason I didn't in the films was just because I knew that it would reach a much wider variety of people. The toy reviews, I didn't want kids watching them. I don't really want that audience, so I would swear. I didn't really care. And that has basically meant, though, that despite the fact that we are told, oh, if you want to be child-friendly or anything, if you want to be family-friendly, you need to not swear and stuff. Even if you could be swearing like crazy, but if you're talking about, say, I recently reviewed a Robin figure from the Dark Knight Returns comic series, that gets flagged up as being child content, even if I was just swearing the entire way through, if I was just, effing and jeffing all over the place, that still would go against it, because I'm still talking about a toy, which is a child-centered item.
In order to help you comply with the law, we're now required to ask you to mark all of your videos as made for kids or not. You know your videos and audience best, so we've launched a new audience setting that lets you tell us if your videos are made for kids or not.
Which is kind of ridiculous. So throughout this video I am going to be using clips from the official YouTube creators video, just to make sure that I'm not paraphrasing too much, though I am also paraphrasing the actual blog post a little bit. So both of those will be linked in the description below if you want the full context, as well as there are two creators that I personally watch that have both spoken in decent detail about this. I'm going to link them below, as well as probably a few other links, just generally so you can not just come away from this video with all your knowledge. You need to get it from other places. I've had to watch multiple videos to actually get my head around it. The YouTube creator video, it's clear, but not clear enough for me personally. I think that they need to make it a lot more obvious. So essentially, due to the COPPA agreement with YouTube, YouTube is essentially using machine learning, so the algorithm, the dreaded algorithm that has ruined everything for us for the last, 6 years? Probably more than that at this rate, is being used to mark content as either for kids or not for kids. So it's automatically marking things like toy reviews and comic videos and animation that contains like childlike animation. All that kind of stuff is being marked as for kids, and so is automatically losing things like comment section, or will lose things as of right now, will lose things like the comment section.
We will start limiting the data we collect on Made for Kids content to comply with the law. Because of this, videos that you mark as Made for Kids will be treated differently on YouTube. Some features like comments will no longer be available. Most importantly, those videos won't show personalized ads, so some creators may see a decrease in revenue. What other features will no longer be available if I set my content as Made for Kids? Starting in January, if you mark a specific video as Made for Kids, features like comments, personalized advertising, info cards, end screens, and more won't be available on individual videos.
So you can manually mark things one way or the other. I have gone back through my channels, I've marked them all as not for kids because they're not, though that does mean that I've then had to go through very specific videos and that does mean that I've had to go through some very specific videos and either mark them individually or just straight up I have deleted a good amount of my past videos. I've backed them up. They will be going on the Patreon, which will be linked in the description. I'll talk about that in a different video. But essentially what has happened is a lot of creators have either had to stop making content and just mark everything as being child-friendly, continued on anyway and just had to diversify, or just done what I did and just hope for the best. Because that's really all you can do in a lot of cases. My content has never been directed at kids, which should be obvious if you watch my content. I do make a variety, which is fair enough, and some of those stuff could be seen as child friendly. That's what I was saying about the toy reviews and the film reviews and stuff, the animation, stuff like that. I just don't understand it really, why it's so, and I put in my notes here, it's vague. It's very, very vague on what they actually mean by child content, because realistically anything can be child content. They specify things like, if it's a learning video, it's early learning. If it's a toy review, they do specify toy reviews as being a thing.
Guidance under COPPA. When deciding whether or not your channel or video is made for kids, you should think about factors like the subject matter of your video, whether children are your intended audience for the video, whether the video includes child actors or models, whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures, whether the language of the video is intended for children to understand, whether the video includes activities that appeal to children, such as play acting, simple songs or games, or early education, whether the video includes songs, stories, or poems that appeal to children, and any other information you may have to help determine your video's audience. Ultimately, we can't provide legal advice,
But
so we're
generally,
unable to
it's
confirm
just
whether or not your
I
content
don't know
is made
whether
for kids.
playing Minecraft,
That decision is
or
up to you, taking into consideration
even
these
to some
factors.
extent, what if I'm playing something like Forza? It's a racing game. It's not necessarily for kids, but it's rated PEGI free. It's rated as I don't know what the US equivalent is, but it's rated as the youngest age demographic it can be without it being a learning game. So does that count as kids entertainment or kids content? Because the game is playable by kids. I don't know if kids actually play it, because it's not the most easy game in the world, but it's where do they draw the line? Roblox and Minecraft make sense that they would be considered child content because they're easy games that are also bright and colourful and funny and all this kind of stuff. Where's the line drawn? And just going on to the consequences, you can be fined over $42,000 per video that violates COPPA. And that is why I've been going around purging my videos, because I don't have a single thousand to just throw away. I don't have that kind of money. No one does, realistically, that is making this sort of content. There's only channels like, I forgot what he's called, but, Thingy's Toy Reviews, I don't know what his channel name is, but he's like the biggest kid creator on the planet, like Blippi and stuff. Those kind of channels, they have a ton of money. They have a lot of money because they've made a lot from their promotions, from their products, from their videos. The average run-of-the-mill toy reviewer, movie reviewer, animator, we don't have the kind of money to just throw $42,000 every time we get a fine for violating COPPA accidentally. Reviews will continue to be released, but they will be exclusive to Patreon until I've figured out something more specific to do. So either the content will remain like Patreon exclusive for eternity, or it'll end up going on to something like Vimeo or Pornhub. I don't know. I might just go with that because it's the easier option. We're not going to get in trouble for uploading there because it's an adult site. So we really need. There was a story a while back. This is just going off a tangent, but so thanks for watching, guys. I'm just going off a tangent now. So that's it for this video. Like, subscribe, all that. But yeah, just going off my tangent. There was an article saying that the parent company for Pornhub was actually going to create a video hub, which was going to be a YouTube competitor, which their system is already really good as it stands, and a lot of people that don't make NSFW content already upload to there. I mean, there's quite a few YouTubers that I know personally that have used that just as a backup. Like, you know, if this channel falls, I'll just have to tweet out that I have a Pornhub account. You know, it's just, and they'll just check it out on there instead. And the monetization isn't bad for that. And, you know, it's a very interesting thing of, yeah, at some point, there's only safe places for toy reviews of all things. Maybe channels, platforms that are adult only. Which is ridiculous to think about, but at this rate, we don't really have any other options. It's just, the thing is, so many platforms have fallen due to YouTube, and it's not just YouTube that makes them fall. I mean, Vine fell due to YouTube technically, and then, but then at the same time, Musical.ly, TikTok, they survived in spite of YouTube being such a formidable force. It's like Vimeo, Dailymotion, they've stayed, though Dailymotion's monetization system is terrible, and Vimeo's, just generally their upload system is a bit naff. But all I can think is that I'm probably going to go back to uploading gaming content to YouTube and to Twitch. If Mixer has a video upload function, I'll probably put it on Mixer as well, just to diversify what it's on. Make it so that, you know, if it gets taken down or whatever on YouTube or flagged up for being child content on YouTube, it's still on Twitch, it's still on Mixer, if Mixer is a thing, as I say. And it just makes it a lot easier for me to bear with my content if everything is kind of just, you know, spread out. I don't want to divide everything and make everything so it's just Patreon only and stuff like that, because, you know, that's not a way to grow content. You know, it's not a way to grow a fan base or anything. But yeah, it's difficult. I'm going to do what I can. I say Patreon is going to be the initial place for the toy reviews. I'm going to try and get them on a different platform, and I'll update everybody on Twitter most likely. When that's a thing. But generally, I'm just glad that for the most part, my music stuff, which is the main thing, is safe. And then on top of that, the podcast is still safe because of the content we talk about, and because luckily podcast content is not something that can be really child friendly or child centered. So I just need to look back at everything I've done and just try and find a new way of thinking about everything, and the video's gone on for way too long. Sorry about that. If you've stayed to the end, thank you. Tell me what you think about COPPA. Like, make sure you do check out, if you're not fully filled in from what I've just told you, make sure to check out the links in the description. It's really worth just watching and reading all that, because I've definitely not covered everything as well as I could. I'm not the best at this. I just needed to talk about it, and